So I'll admit, off the top, I came for Anna Kendrick. I love Anna Kendrick. Not in that way, unless you're down for that, Anna. I mean, call me. I spend hours upon hours staring into the dark circle of a bright ring where there's a camera, trying to be funny for strangers on the internet. So maybe bragging about my mental health isn't really the way to go. But I can at least say I've got something on the protagonist from this week's Quibi show, Dummy. Hey everybody, and thank you for joining me for yet another episode of the Everyman Movie Review. As you already know from our previous episodes, we're going through a little bit of a special streak right now. Instead of talking about movies, because it's hard to get a new movie these days, we're going to be reviewing some of the Quibi shows. And Quibi, Quick Bites, that's going to stand for not only the shows, but these reviews. They're going to be quicker than normal, and we're going to get in and out. Just a little bit about the show, a little bit about the platform, and then leave it to you to decide, is it worth your money? So you'll hear a little bit about the show itself, a little bit about my thoughts about it, and then whether or not you should spend your time on that show if you get it, and whether you should spend your money on the platform as a whole. So this week we are talking about Dummy. I won't say that this is a show that brought me to the platform, but it was something that I was pleasantly surprised about. I live in LA, so it's a little bit different for me. I saw a billboard for a Quibi show starring Anna Kendrick, and I'm 90% sure Anna Kendrick has like 4 shows on 4 different streaming services right now, and I was like, wait, have I watched this one yet? What is this one? Did a quick Google search, and I'm like, nope, I haven't, but I have Quibi. I guess I'll check it out. But before we get too far into the details of that show, let's get through the pleasantry, shall we? Dummy was written by Cody Heller. It was directed by Trisha Brock. It is starring Anna Kendrick as Cody, Meredith Hagner as Barbara, better known as the doll or the dummy, Donal Logue as Dan, and I'll get a little bit into who Dan is, Wayne Fetterman as Stu, with special appearances from the likes of Joel McHale, Rob Corddry, and Chris Parnell. So this is one of those shows where it's like, is it life imitating art, imitating life, imitating art? Like, where does the cycle begin? You'll notice that I mentioned the writer's name was Cody Heller, and that the protagonist, played by Anna Kendrick, is also named Cody. While I'm pretty sure Cody Heller, the writer, also dated someone named Dan in the past, and spoiler alert, this is actually Dan Harmon, the Dan from Rick and Morty, and, you know, a ton of other animated shows, and a guy who's kind of well known for being a certain kind of guy. He's also super funny on Instagram. If you check him out on Instagram, he's really funny with his lives especially. So how much of this is true and how much of it is not? If you've seen the movie adaptation, it's a little weird how about halfway through the movie, which is supposed to be a story that is from a book and it's based on real life, the screenwriters end up writing themselves into the screenplay, and adaptation turns into a movie about this event, into a movie about the guys writing the movie based on the book about this event. And it's a little hard to track. Nick Cage plays twins in it, and there's a lot going on. But this kind of goes that direction, only in a way funnier way. So I'll admit, off the top, I came for Anna Kendrick. I love Anna Kendrick. Not in that way, unless you're down for that, Anna. I mean, call me. But I mean, otherwise, you come for Anna Kendrick because she's like the named star, I guess. But you stay because it is a super funny and super meticulously done show. Also, I love Donal Logue, and I didn't even know he was in this. Obviously, I only saw based on a billboard, and it's Donal Logue playing Dan Harmon, which I don't know. That's a fantastic combination. But here's kind of the concept of the show. Dan, played by Donal Logue, is dating Anna Kendrick, who is much younger than him. And yet, even though she's kind of in the power position based on that being young and hot, he's in the power position because he is a well-known writer and producer. She is a young writer, a baby writer, and wants to get into the industry. So there's this weird dynamic between the two of them where she doesn't want to upset him, and yet she doesn't notice that he's still trying to impress her in many ways. Turns out that Dan has a sex doll in the closet, and it's discovered by Cody. And it turns into this awkward thing, and, you know, like, they have, like, a weird sex play anyway. Like, their whole relationship is a little awkward, but then she discovers this doll. And do you bring it up? Do you not bring it up? I don't know what to do, but she comes clean, and she mentions it, and Dan says, listen, we can be truthful with each other. I just need you to not touch the doll. Don't do anything with the doll. Just leave it alone. But in the middle of the night, Cody hears singing. And so she goes into his office once again, and she realizes that the doll who calls herself Barbara. Yes, I say calls herself because the doll is speaking to Cody. And the doll asks her to help her and, rearrange her. And she says, like, yeah, you're just an Ambien-fueled nightmare. And she goes back to bed. Cut to the next day. Cody is with Dan, but she's not feeling well, so she goes home early. And the doll's calling out to her and asks her to give her a bath. So she basically spends a beauty day with the sex doll, and the language is super graphic. Listen, it's a sex doll, and it's clear that is a sex doll, and if you're not comfortable with that, you're not going to be comfortable with any of the other dialogue that goes on between Cody and Dan, between Cody and Barbara, between basically any of these characters. And there's a bit of violence as well, kind of like person-on-doll violence, but also person-on-self violence. There's a lot going on in this. Anyway, so basically Cody strikes up a friendship with this doll. And when Dan realizes that this thing is kind of getting in between him and Cody, he throws it out. And what does Cody do? Cody rescues her because they have started writing a screenplay together. They just have this continuing dynamic of Dan and the doll and Cody and the doll and Dan and Cody. And eventually it turns to her admission that she, in fact, is writing a script about a woman who talks to a sex doll that she found in her boyfriend's closet. So perhaps the script that we are watching play out in front of us. And that's the adaptation bit of it. That is just like, how much of this is real? How much of this is playing off of that idea? Kind of deep and meta at the same time. Anyway, there's a lot going on. But the one consistency throughout is that it remains funny. It's not always like funny haha. Sometimes it's like funny, like awkward or cringy, but still you're enjoying yourself the entire time. And the moments that Anna Kendrick has with the doll, I can't imagine being on set and having to keep a straight face while Anna Kendrick is talking to a sex doll, but having this great dialogue back and forth. Because in the show, she talks, even though I imagine on set she probably wasn't talking. And if anyone is going to play Dan Harmon, I mean, again, Donal Logue is the guy to do it. Just all of the acting was great. Like, it was always fun. They had found like the funniest group they possibly could and threw them all together. And then just awkward, cringy, funny situations throughout, right up until the very, very end. And there's a little bit of humor. And I'm trying to place the movie and I can't think of it now, but basically, on one or two occasions, someone walks in to Cody talking to Barbara, who is clearly a doll to everyone in the room, and acting as if she's getting responses. And she's able to play it off like, hey, I'm just selling you on the screenplay that I got. And like, so even that sounds not funny. And maybe I'm not very funny, even though my goal is to be funny for strangers on the internet. It is way funnier than I think I'm making it out to be. And again, they're very quick episodes, but generally speaking, it's funny. And then something gaspy funny happens, like, oh my god, and then they cut and it's like cliffhanger to the next episode. Like, how is Cody gonna get out of that? What is Cody gonna do? And it makes you want to watch the next episode. And I think I said this on the last episode of the Everyman Movie review, that if I had to watch that day after day, that would be very frustrating. And I heard from people how frustrating it was. And to me, that is a really good thing. If they're doing a good job about making you want to watch more, why are you complaining about that? Now, I waited a while so I could binge it, but in the end, that's the goal. If they get me wanting more, then you know it's something quality. And Dummy was definitely quality. So if you have a Quibi subscription, I highly encourage you to check out Dummy. With the caveat that, obviously, if you're an adult, and obviously if you don't mind adult humor, if you just generally like Judd Apatow / Seth Rogen movies, there's nothing worse than you're going to find that. This is not worse than like Sausage Party, which I saw again recently. So if you're fine with that, you're going to be fine with this. There is one moment of kind of crazy violence right at the end of it that you don't see coming, and it's in and out really fast. So if you're not really paying that close of attention, you're not going to see it anyway. But be warned about that. But otherwise, I just think it's for all adults to enjoy. But again, Quibi is supposed to be for teens. It's supposed to be, tweens and teens. And I don't see how this content fits into that. It's great for me. I like the platform. I like the content. I am rare. I don't know many people my age who had a TikTok before quarantine, but I did. I do a lot of, content, some content over on TikTok. You should check that out at Robert N. Cheek on TikTok, as well as on all social media. But It's not for me to concern myself with whether or not the platform is hitting their demographic. They hit me, and if you like what I like, I think you're going to like this as well. So if you have a Quibi subscription, check it out. Dummy, it's available now. If you don't, I will tell you, it's probably worth alone the $4.99 subscription price. There's no contract. You can cancel at any time. So get it for a month and check it out and see if you like it. I think you're going to find plenty of stuff, including Dummy, that's worthwhile to watch. And if you're looking for more stuff that's worthwhile to watch, make sure you check out all the other videos I have on the channel. I got parody videos, I got vlog videos, and a ton of other stuff. And of course, you can always find me on the Oh the Anthem podcast. Me and my buddy Corey have been doing a show for the last 327 consecutive weeks. It's news, it's sports, it's top stories of the week, and we do commentary on them. It's over at Oh the Anthem on YouTube and on Anchor and at ohtheanthem.com. And if you're looking for the socials for Everyman Movie Review, you can find that down in the show notes below, as well as a link to find Dummy on Quibi. So thank you guys for joining me for yet another episode. I cannot wait to bring you my next one. It's one of my favorite shows available on Quibi right now. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Have a great week, everybody.